time to talk about your assignment, which will be due this Friday at 3 o'clock, along with the other assignments this week. But this one is about something you're going to make. Your other two assignments are about learning all about World War II and propaganda that was used. But your assignment is to create your own propaganda, this time a positive World War II style message for America. Let's talk about what you did well the first time on your posters. You did a good job of being encouraging. You used the glittering generalities technique really well. Thought you stayed positive and you were very creative. And lots of people were very impressed with what you did. So thank you. Now I want you to take your work to the next level. And so let's remember our real world problem. The CDC is telling Americans to avoid social gatherings. And when I first wrote this assignment to avoid groups bigger than 50, now they're saying 10. And this is something that we need to get the public on board with because people are still not making this change to their behavior. So I've looked up some primary sources for you. This is from Twitter just a couple days ago, March 21st. And the focus right now is the whole do the 5 idea. And in New York City, they're just straight up telling people to stay home if at all possible, especially if they're not feeling well. So I think there's also some other concerns we could focus on. How do we help small businesses like restaurants to survive? How can communities work together and avoid some of the racist attacks that have been made? How can we make sure hospitals have the supplies that they need? And I'm sure there's other concerns that you can think of. I'm not out there experiencing a lot because I'm stuck in my house, but can you think of another behavior we need to change in America right now? So here's your job this week. Choose a problem, decide on your message, use positive techniques of propaganda, and then create your poster or possibly another format. So remember, World War II is our inspiration. You learned a little bit about it this week, and it's a time when propaganda really worked to change behavior. And I'm going to show you some examples. So there was a problem. We needed glycerin is used to make bombs. Glycerin also comes from sugar. So the solution in America was to ration sugar, and the propaganda solution was to make people think like, hey, look, you get twice as much as other countries. It shouldn't be so bad. And people really did follow along with this. Think about today, we do have some hoarding that's happening in America. Surgical masks, toilet paper. How could you encourage people not to participate in that negative behavior? A problem they had in World War II is they needed lots of fuel and tires in order to get the armed forces around Europe. And so the solution was to ration gasoline and the rubber for tires. And here's a poster encouraging people, really preying on their fear, actually. If you think about today, behavior we need people to follow is social distancing, right? They're worried they're going to miss out on stuff, but they will be helping slow the virus. And if you use the approach of this poster, they're going to help protect people like the elderly and people who are at high risk. Another problem during World War II is the war was really expensive. They needed to encourage the public to buy war bonds, which is basically you're lending the federal government money, which you agree to pay back later. Today, we have some concerns that restaurants have been forced to close, but they still need to keep paying their employees. So what are some of the solutions that you could encourage people to participate in order to help those small businesses? During World War II, a lot of big sacrifices were needed from everyone. So one of the solutions was to offer lots of ways to help the war effort. Lots of small steps people could take. If you look at this poster, they're helping people feel like they're making a difference just by growing their own food, just by walking and carrying their own packages instead of using their car, and by conserving everything they have. So today, the problem we're facing is that we're trying to help people find ways to connect without making contact. So these are some opportunities where people could help out by making positive use of social media, helping other people, and donating. So those are things you could focus your poster on. Finally, our last problem was that as World War II went on, there was a lot of racism and prejudice that led to conflict and violence. And so this is an example of a poster that was really calling for unity. So trying to make it clear that immigrants, like people from the Latinx population, really were helping America and that they didn't deserve to be discriminated against. So think about some of the discrimination that's happening today against Asian people, and that there is a call for cooperation and for calm and for tolerance, and that's really what we need instead. So that could be the focus of your work. So now plan your poster or email me if you want to do something else to change behavior. This is the criteria to be successful, and this slideshow will be in classrooms as well. You need to be inspired by these posters, tell Americans how to change behavior, tell them why they're changing the behavior. But here's the trick. You don't get a lot of words to do that. You have to make a strong visual statement. And this link to the University of North Texas is one great place to look at other propaganda posters from the war. So you can do it, and good luck. And please let me know if you have questions.